Lyles Station is located in Patoka Township, Gibson County, Indiana. It was established by free Tennessee slave Joshua Lyles. After the Civil War, Lyles returned to Tennessee to encourage newly emancipated slaves to settle in Indiana. As the settlement grew, Lyles donated 60 acres of land to the Airline Railroad, and in exchange, the railroad built a train station, providing passenger and mail service to the community. By 1913, in addition to 55 homes, the settlement, with a population of over 800, was home to a school, 2 churches, and 2 general stores. I'm Kennedy Madison. Here with me today is Stanley Madison, the founder of the Lyles Historic Preservation Corporation. Hello, thank you for meeting us today.
Yes, it's good to have you here today at Lyles Station.
So, Mr. Madison, when did your ancestors come down to Lyles Station?
My side of the family came here around 1839. We were some of the first 7 to 9 families to originally come to this area at the very early beginning of Lyles Station.
Wow, so you've been here for a long time. Did you grow up here in Lyles Station?
I have been a resident of Lyles Station my whole entire lifetime. I don't know if there's anywhere else I'd want to be, but other than right here.
So you currently reside in Princeton. What is your role in the community here?
Here at Lyles Station, I'm the chairman. I've been supportive of this since 1997. I serve on the hospital board. I serve as vice president of the tourism for Gibson County, the whole entire county. And I'm on various other committees also. Do part-time farming, and love being here at Lyles Station, telling the history and telling the stories.
That's great. I know at its peak, Lyles Station had over 800 people residing just in this area. What caused the decline and for people to relocate?
Well, if you can remember back in our history book, it talked about the early 1913 flood that started at the Mississippi and continuously went all the way through the East Coast. That great flood was huge in Lyles Station. It covered everything, even the railroad track out here. So we were probably looking at water where we're sitting at today would have been actually coming through the windows of the school. It was a disaster for Lyles Station. So in the 1913, most families that lost everything, their home, their animals, their whole property was just gone. So it really drew their attention to move to higher ground and maybe relocate, and that's why Lyles Station started dwindling down in that time period.
Wow. So with the relocation, do you think that many people can track their family history in this local tri-state area back to Lyles Station?
99% of everyone that leaves here that has been part of Lyles Station, their heritage roots, they call it, back here at Lyles Station. So there's probably, of that 800, there would be probably another additional 400 families that will still tie it back to Lyles Station's roots.
With the school that still stands here today, how was it back then with the different laws that were going on in that time, segregation laws, as far as education and all that goes? How did you guys do that?
Well, you know, African Americans could not attend school, and they had a real struggle at that point in time in the early 60s because these young people were educated more or less by one of the family members, or a few would gather at certain one's home. So in 1863, about the same time, 1864, when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, we were building our first log cabin school across from the church. And with that church being part of our central, you might say, the glue for this small community, the school became part of that glue, and the white teacher would come into the community and actually teach our children. It cost us $1 to $1.50 in 1863. A lot of money was spent just to educate our children. And we petitioned by Mr. W.H. Roundtree to have an open door for African American children to go to a free public school because we were paying taxes like everyone else. We had ownership of land. So it was brought up to their attention. It was brought to the attention of the governor that we should have a public school for our children to go to school. So from 1863 to early 70s, 70, 71, we were paying $1 to $1.50 for every child in that household be educated. You could feed a family for a nickel. So you see at the end of the month how expensive it was for 10 or 12 children of that family to go to school. Number one thing that Lyles Station stands for is that education, because it was a drive back then. C's were not accepted in this school. You did not make C's. You made A's and B's. Our mom would have you in on Saturday.
How is Lyles Station used to educate children today?
We bring children into this school to revisit the history of our ancestors, not just African Americans, but all of our ancestors, of how the difficult time for being educated, plus the difficult time to survive. Our field trips that are brought in are the Heritage Classroom, the difficult time of going to school back in that time period of 1920s, is how this school was kind of set, because in 1922 is when this building was built, because we had already outgrown the log cabin across from the church. So in 1922, we were looking into taking that education and pushing it to the T. So when we rebuilt this school, we took that as an additional challenge to educate our children. And once they come to the school and see how difficult it was to go to school back in its day and time, go outside to the red pump to get a drink of water with your little metal cup, or maybe go to the restroom in the back with the outhouses. And the children really get an understanding how difficult education was back in that time frame. So with us revisiting that with our students that come from 45-mile radius of here, we get almost down to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and 87 miles over into Illinois. Sometimes those buses are hour and 15 minutes one way just getting here. So we want to make sure that when they come here to be educated about African Americans' history and also the early history of our ancestors, they take something home with them that will be a treasure from this day on. And let's say that you would go to the average field trip. Do you ever get a chance to really get your hands dirty? Well, we do here. We do candle making, we do butter churning, we shell corn, we milk the cow. We want hands-on.
If someone was to try to Lyles Station today, what all would they see here?
Well, as you realize, farming is a big business this day and time. So most of our old farms, the house and the barn and the small sheds, have been taken down to make more productive land. So we're down to small in numbers as far as for older homes that would be here. So we have the church, which was built in 1887. It's still the original foundation standing down here. Here where we're sitting at today is the school. And there's one older home that's back over and behind us here to the south. That was the principal, Mr. Lucas's home, and we're going to restore it. So it's pretty slim for the old homes because of the deterioration from the length of time. Because you take some of these homes that's in this area, you're looking at 125, 130-year-old homes.
As far as future plans go for Lyles Station, do you plan on doing anything more or adding anything?
Yes, we are. We are in the motion here of doing different phases. One of our phases that we're stepping into now will be phase 2, and that's establishing a community garden. And we have a log cabin we have actually put back here, and it's the early 1800s. It was just a mile up the road, and so we have captured it to bring it back to Lyles Station, and it'll be a keeper here from here on out. Our third phase that we will be looking at will be ownership of 17.5 acres. We would love to be able to put on this 17.5 acres. Of course, I mentioned the old farmhouse. We'd like to get a petting animal farm over here with a barn and some sheds put back up. But the biggest thing with the 17.5 acres is to build a youth camp here at Gibson County. And this youth camp will be an opening opportunity for Indianapolis, Chicago youngsters to come here, learn about their African American history, and spend a night in a log cabin. We're going to build 11 more log cabins, and they will be able to spend their night there. We will have fun things through the day, leadership. We'll be talking about the various skills that will go along with our program throughout the full week of camp. We're going to put in an amphitheater. We're going to recreate the old downtown Lyles Station. So we got some plans for this project here at Lyles Station. Not only is this a state and a federal historic site, this is, with DNR, we're going to be here from here on out. This building, this site, and this history will always be here to be alive.
If someone wanted more information about Lyles Station, where could they get that from?
Well, you can go to our website, which is lylesstation.org, and you also can make contact by phone. Our number is 812-385-2534.
Thank you for meeting with us today.
Well, thank you for coming to Lyles Station. Glad to have you.
Reporting here at Lyles Station for Ball State's EVSC Community Link, I'm Kennedy Madison.